You are listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast with Janice, mental health in bite-sized chunks. Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and in today's episode, I thought we would deep dive into something we all experience but often misunderstand. So that is our feelings. So we are going to talk about anxiety, anger, sadness. What is the function? Why do we have them? What is the point of the feelings that we're having? What are they trying to tell us? Okay, let's jump right in. So often we think of feelings as either good or bad. I often get the question, why do I have blank feeling? What is the point of feeling blank? And so I thought today's episode would be a really good way to kind of dive in and answer these questions. So when we're thinking about our feelings, we either kind of want to push them away or we feel like I have to stay in this feeling forever. And so kind of navigating what does it look like to kind of feel through our feelings and move through the process. So the truth is that every single feeling has a purpose. It serves an intention. It has a reason for why we're experiencing it. They're like little messengers, each with a unique piece of information to share with us. So take anxiety, for example. That's something that we talk about a lot here in my practice and in the podcast. So that jittery, uneasy feeling that's often really uncomfortable. Maybe it's a tightness in the chest. Maybe it's kind of sweaty palms, but that kind of anxious feeling. It's often a signal that we are in a potentially threatening situation or a dangerous situation, something that we're facing, a challenge that we need to overcome. And sometimes anxiety is kind of telling us that we're at the edge of our window, right? So we're kind of right on the edge of being knocked out. So our brain is trying to say, pay attention, look over here, what's happening? We might need to prepare for something. And sometimes that's a legitimate fear. There actually is something that we have, or sometimes it's something that is just day-to-day life now that we live in a concrete jungle. So ignoring anxiety might be missing a warning sign that we need to shift gears or change or do something different. Then there's feelings like anger. So often anger is seen as something destructive, something to avoid, something that's not safe. Anger isn't going to help us in what we're trying to do. So it's often misunderstood or mismanaged. But anger can actually be a really powerful motivator. It can tell us when our boundaries are being crossed, or when we're not enjoying an interaction with someone, or when we feel like we maybe need to change something or do something different because we don't like the way that something is happening. Anger can be that driving force for us to change or to do something different. So it kind of lets us know that either I don't like the way I'm being treated right now, or I don't like the way someone else is being treated right now. And can we use this anger to fuel change, to do something different? Then there's other feelings like sadness. So what is the function of sadness? Sadness is often seen as this painful thing, which it is, right? It's this painful feeling that overwhelms us and consumes us. And it's a natural response to loss or disappointment, to grief, to feeling like things aren't going the way that we want them to go. It allows us to process difficult situations, to understand that something is not as we want it to be, to reflect and to ultimately move through whatever experience that is that we're having. So suppressing sadness can actually prolong it, right? So sadness is, again, one of those feelings that we want to push away. I don't want to feel this. The thing I often hear is, if I start crying, I'm never going to stop, right? So we often want to avoid it. But if we are able to take the cues and the function of sadness and say, this is something that's really devastating or something that's really painful, and we're able to sit in the sadness and move through the sadness, it allows us to heal and to start to feel better. So it can get sticky if we don't move through it. So we want to make sure that we're feeling our way through it. And lastly, I thought we could talk about joy. So let's end on a positive note. So what is the function of joy? Why do we experience joy? And so this warm, bubbly sensation that's often pleasant and we feel really positively about. signals that something is good is happening. We're in alignment with our values, with our beliefs, with how we want to be showing up right now. We're feeling love and connection to the people around us, right? So this joy signals that we're on the right path. We're doing something positive. We can know that we're achieving the goals that we want to be achieving. So it reinforces the positive behavior. And I always want to have that caveat that joy is in that hyper arousal state, right? So again, baseline is kind of what we're going for, but to experience joy means to kind of show, yeah, we're on the right path, and we can come back down to baseline and know that everything is going to be okay. So it strengthens our connections with others and is essential for our well-being, for knowing that things are going well, that things are. So the key takeaway here is that all of our emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, are a really valuable source of information. They tell us something about our experience. They allow us to move through experiences that are hard. So instead of trying to eliminate certain feelings, can we try and understand them? Can we ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? What is this feeling trying to share with me or tell me? And what needs do I need to get met? How can I use this information to make change or to do something different? And remember that all feelings are valid, but not all behaviors are. So our feelings are valid, but we need to make sure that we're choosing an appropriate reaction, right? So that avoidance is not about the feeling. The feeling is okay. The feeling isn't bad in and of itself. But we want to make sure that we're being intentional and positive with the actions or the behaviors that we're choosing. So listening to our emotions and decoding their message is a crucial step towards greater self-awareness and emotional well-being. So it's about understanding our emotional language and what our feelings are trying to share with us. So I hope that you found this helpful and that you can kind of take this time to reflect on what are my feelings trying to tell me today. Remember to be kind to yourself, listen to your feelings, and until next time, take care. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts, both on Apple and Android. New episodes are released every Friday. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to join the conversation, leave a review, or subscribe to the podcast hosted on Spotify. You can find all these details on janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.